Vous écoutez toujours CFRJ 93. Aujourd'hui, j'ai le plaisir de recevoir Mme Toos qui fait partie de la communauté de Gravelbourg. Elle travaille au musée. Hi, Ms. Toos, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
So we're gonna first of all, we want to congratulate you about the project, about the green elevations. So how does that feel for you? The restoration of this historic since 1915 elevator.
Well, it's kind of a peace of mind that it's done. It's been a 20-year project. So my goal was, to see it finished in my lifetime.
Okay, what were the biggest challenge you and the museum team had to overcome to successfully complete this renovation?
In the beginning, it was to convince the local people that it was worth saving. I grew up in the Netherlands, and when I was a child, they were tearing down windmills till somebody said, we need to save some. And we all, or most of us, know that the windmills are a great attraction to visitors. And so that's what I had a vision when I said we need to save this elevator.
So how did you convince the community to save the gain elevator, according to you?
So what happened about 20 years ago, the weed pool was tearing down an elevator that was right beside it. And they contacted the town and suggested that maybe the town wanted to save this little elevator that was right beside it. And so the town council at the time decided they didn't want it. They saw it as a burden. But I was a councillor, but not at that meeting. And so when I came back and heard about it, I said, no. We need to save this little elevator. This is our heritage. This is what we're all about. And so I had to prove to town council that the majority of the people in Gravelbourg were in favor of keeping it. However, there was somebody else who went against me with a petition. And, well, apparently I did win the battle, but I had to sign a paper for the town that I would not use taxpayers' money for this project. And so I'm like, okay, we'll see. I signed the paper and started to do fundraising. There was a group of people who were very supportive of my idea, and so I was not by myself.
So what is the next step for this elevator, like activities, projects?
So my idea was that I would take care of the preservation of the outside of the grain elevator, and I was hoping that in time we would find somebody else, who would take over my responsibility. And I might add that we did find a person. So, and this person, the next generation, is in charge now of the inside.
What's it's important for you to save the building of the grain elevator?
Yeah. The grain elevator is one of the oldest buildings in Gravelbourg. And so my vision is that we expand around the elevator, make it into a museum. And so expand the outside, have the outside like they have in Mustia, an exhibition of farm equipment. And so the person who is now in charge of the elevator, it's a museum, but it's Tony Lorraine. Tony Lorraine, he's very excited about it, together with Fred Handelsmark. And so they are taking over, all the possibilities we have, what we can do with the elevator.
So as one of the young's comment on the photo shows on the community, I appreciate your dedication. So what gives you the energy to be so much involved at the community of Gravelbourg?
Well, there's a few things. I was an immigrant. I could barely speak English when I moved here, but I always got so much support when I was here. So you feel welcome, and you see opportunities in this town, and you put your mind to something, and then you keep on going, and then you try to find other people with similar ideas, and that's how you build on. And, when you have a group of people, everybody has their ideas, and then, you do this and their ideas. So over the last 20 years, we've been doing a lot of fundraising, coming up with ideas, where can we get money, to do this. And so, yeah, I did have a lot of support after from the community.
So you managed Café Paris before, and you are involved with the tourism. How can you describe Gravelbourg? Like, for someone who doesn't know what is Gravelbourg, how would you say, if someone's like heard of Gravelbourg is about to come, what would you want to say to that person? Like, is that to make that person come who's about to come?
Okay, so we moved here, and my late husband was a contractor. And we saw a need of a motel. And so he built a motel. And so for 15 years, I run a motel. I had no experience, but when you have a vision, you just don't give up. After my husband passed away, I sold a motel and retired for 3 months and thought I need to do something else. What else can we do in town here? And that's when I opened Café Paris. And I thought Café Paris was such a good fit for this town, to create a French flair in town. And so for 10 years, that's what I did. I, developed the business and worked. I got sick, and then I had to sell Café Paris. In the meantime, I remarried and started another business and have a bed and breakfast now, because the house I live in was perfect for a bed and breakfast. After a few years, so 5 years ago, I started artistic creations. You have, and it's not that I'm have a lot of experience in all those things, it's just you see an opening. And then you do a little research, what do I have to do to develop, and there's still a lot of things we can do in Gravelbourg, but I'm getting a little older, so I hope somebody else will come up with ideas.
Sur les ondes de CFRJ 93 ans, on vient tout juste de recevoir une membre de la communauté, celle qui travaille au tourisme dans la communauté de Gravelbourg. Elle travaille aussi au musée. Elle nous a parlé d'un projet de grain élévateur dont ça fait l'histoire depuis 1915.
You could drive up closer here.